So this week I'm going to be looking at how I actually made the canopy for Poppins restaurant of Worcester. This is the template that I kind of cut out of a piece of plastic card, and I drew out the struts as well, so you can see I could get the shape out of it for the canopy and also the arm length and the angles that are needed to make the delicate fine support that ensure its shape. So of course the first thing I wanted to do was create those struts and those supports. Now they're connected quite finely by a little block that sticks against the top of the window of the shop. So to do this I cut out a tiny bit of plastic card or acrylic, about a couple of millimetres, 4mm thick I think it was, and basically created a little block rectangular shape to which I could then screw into in order to hold the supports in place and at the correct angles. Now I could just glue it, but I felt that by doing this it would be a lot stronger, and that's something I've learned over the years doing different projects, is structure is key. Always think deeper than just how it looks, think about how it's going to last, how it's going to actually perform. After I've got those blocks all cut out and drilled, and I can stick a piece of plastic rod through it, I've then went about super gluing them all in place to make sure that they've got the right angles effectively. Use my template to get the right lengths and things as well. So there's that consistency across the four that I've got to do. There's a slight kink as well in the ends of the base support, so I was quite keen to get that right and get that at the right angle. And I've just layered one over the other just to get the exact length. And the template, yeah, brilliant for getting the angles right, but sometimes the length of the arms they're not always going to be exactly the same if I do it like that. So here you can see me layering one above the other, getting my knife and just cutting through at the end. And then it's just a case of going through and doing all the others so that I've got the same length arm on the base of each strut. So now I've got like the 4 struts done and the supports, and you can see I've got those with the 2 arms. It's now a case of adding in those middle 2. There's 2 more supports to each one. So I drilled 2 holes very carefully in the middle there because they're so close together that one could easily just merge into the other one. And with plastic, when you're drilling, it does heat up when you're going quite fast, so you kind of want to make sure they don't mould through, cut through each other. But in this case it isn't too much of a problem because they will sort of support each other in the long run. But this is just a simple task now of super gluing the struts in at the correct angle really. Same thickness of rod, I had a few bits lying about from different projects and things, so always recycle your stuff. I've never actually done a template on plastic card before, and so I found this really useful because it meant that it kept its shape and it was always rigid, and you didn't need to worry about messing it up because it's on a hard bit of material. So it kind of proved to be really, really useful. Making sure they're all the same angle, and that I have got them right. I always measure twice, cut once but measure twice, because, well, 3 times if you have to. That's my trick. I think it's a lot about makers' tricks, to be honest. So these are the struts in place, ready for priming, and then I'll put a chrome silver on top, which I thought would look really, really nice. Now onto the actual canopy itself. Now I've made this up on Word, using like the images, the references to kind of get the right look of the text and things, and then use my template just to scale, make sure I've got the right scale and things. So printed that onto some sticky back label paper. Printed that out and then went about cutting it up accordingly. So you can see there it's got the writing on coffee house and restaurant. It looks really, really nice. Just cut all the way around, and then it was a case of getting the template back out and making sure that I could find the crease lines effectively, and I just mark them down the edge because I want to remember obviously exactly where they are for what I'm about to do. So you're probably thinking, how am I going to turn this paper into looking like a canopy? Now this is a trick that I've learnt to do over the past few years, and it's not one that you're probably thinking it will work, but to be honest, it does. Now, like to score the lines down, like, or to fold them, I'd use the edge of the bench because you want a nice straight line. I've got a nice bit of acrylic as well, and just made sure that it kind of sits like a clamp using my hand, and then yeah, just put the fold lines in. So here I've left some white on the edge because I needed some tabs to make the end bits of the canopy, but I just put a little score line through where the crease lines end, just so I can get, when they fold, that, you know, they can fold to the side. So just cut the little corner bits out because there's a bit that folds underneath, just to kind of structure it all and make sure it all stays together. So just fold them over, make sure that fold line's in there ready, have a cup of coffee. Now this is the trick, tin foil. So wire is fantastic for shaping like fabrics and things, which you've probably seen many a time, but for me, I find tin foil for anything smaller like this is absolute perfection, because basically means you can fold the paper in any direction and it'll try and keep its form. So for anything like replicating material with paper, it's amazing. Like flags, I've done flags in the past and this has worked an absolute treat. Like seriously, you can get some really good effects. So yeah, I've basically just peeled the back off this sticky label paper and put the foil in, and you know, just make sure it's neatly, you know, there's no bubbles or anything, and it's all stuck together nicely. And then after that, you can really go about doing those end pieces in this case. So make sure the templates fits, make the marks so you know where the folds are supposed to go in. Just helps out a little bit. Just make sure those fold lines are all good, and then it's literally a case of cutting out those end pieces using that template. And I did the insides as well of the canopy because obviously with this miniature 1/24 scale, you know, somebody might be looking up inside the canopy and then see like the back side. You don't want to see tin foil in there, so I thought for those end bits I'll just, you know, add to the realism of the colouring, keep that going. Give that little trim round as well. And then it's just a case of yeah, cutting out the rest of the side pieces and putting them together accordingly in the same way. So these are the struts, the actual fitting of the struts, you can see on the reference there, and with a tweezer, bit of super glue. Don't get it on the acrylic though, because it frosts it up. That's all I'm going to say. It's not like I've ever had a problem with that. hold it in place, you know, super glue when you need a couple of seconds, and there you have it. So this is the canopy in place. Still got some white wire bits that I've added on later that I'm gonna, you'll see on the final photos next week hopefully. But yeah, the effect's there. It looks like, you know, a canvas material I think at this point. Some weathering to do. Overall I'm really happy. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're gonna have a go at it, but more importantly, have a good rest of your week, and thanks for watching.